俺はいろんな戦いを超えて数々の傷を負ってきたが、この傷だ。俺にこの傷を負わせたのはお前んとこの黒ひげティーチだ。
Shanks carries one of One Piece's biggest mysteries. This mystery is about the mark, that huge scar, on Shanks' face. How was Blackbeard capable of such a feat? How did Shanks, even though he was very powerful, allow that to be done to his face? What impact will Shanks' scar have on the plot of One Piece? Stay with me, we'll talk about this now. And well, my dear pirates, the scars and marks that we gather throughout life are clear proof of our struggles and difficulties to continue living and believing in a world, a life, a better society, whether these scars are physical or emotional, and in One Piece this would be no different. There are several characters in One Piece who have a mark, an important scar that not only serves as a cool and stylish design for the character but also serves, mainly, as a way of showing the emotions, deeds and personality of that character. And Shanks is certainly the character who most represents this in One Piece. To understand this very well, we have to go back to the beginning of the work, and we also have to analyze the conception of the character and his importance for this One Piece universe. Yes, many don't know, but Shanks' beginnings would be a little different from what we know. Allow me to explain better, my dear pirate. As we know, Shanks is one of the most popular characters in One Piece, even though he barely appeared in the work. The character was introduced at the very beginning of the work, during a flashback to Luffy's childhood. During this flashback, we learn that Shanks lost an arm while saving Luffy from a Sea King's attack. Shanks is responsible for lighting the flame of Luffy's determination, and continues to be a very important character in the work to this day. However, many fans don't know the real reason why the character lost his arm. It turns out that originally, One Piece author Eiichiro Oda's editor hadn't found Shanks interesting enough. He found the character boring, and the manga story didn't seem very interesting to him. This stuck with the author, who decided to make some changes to the character. Initially, Oda had no intention of making Shanks lose an arm, but after his editor told him that the story was not interesting enough, Oda decided to cut off the character's arm. According to Oda's editor, One Piece had a decent start, but still needed something impactful. Oda couldn't think of anything better than Shanks making a sacrifice to show that he trusts the protagonist, as happens a lot in the world of anime. Shanks' arm was used as a way to impact the audience and get fans excited about the work, which definitely worked. With this we can understand that although Oda did not have this intention from the beginning, the idea of marking Shanks, removing one of his arms, was perfect not only for the character's popularity, but also to give it greater narrative weight and to Luffy himself. This introduction went from a simple common anime opening scene, to a scene where we clearly see that Shanks, to fulfill his goal of guiding Luffy, willingly offered his own arm. Even if that wasn't the original idea. The scene in which Shanks loses his arm is one of the most memorable moments in One Piece because it is the moment that Luffy receives the straw hat and promises to become a great pirate. But after knowing Shanks' potential, it's hard to believe that Redhead lost his arm like that. And this is a subject that is often questioned by One Piece fans to this day, especially fans who are unaware of the fact that Oda added this scene at the last minute. With his level of haki, Shanks could have easily scared off the Sea King and saved Luffy without suffering such a huge loss. So, as you can see, this mark, the lack of an arm, in one way or another transformed Shanks into an unknown within the work. And this superstition, this air of mystery about Shanks, ends up increasing even more after he receives the mark on his face that was made by Blackbeard. After all, Shanks is one of the strongest characters in the world of One Piece, and in addition to losing his arm in a strange way, he was also injured in the face and gained a scar that became his trademark. That is, yet another once again we see another brand being linked to the character, and once again a mystery is placed in the work. Shanks' scar caused by Marshall D. Teach is something that surprises One Piece fans. The revelation comes during Shanks' meeting with Whitebeard at Marineford. He probably made the scar with metal claws that he still wore during his time as a Whitebeard man. Shanks has always tried to warn the Whitebeard pirates about how dangerous Blackbeard is, in addition to saying that he was never careless against Blackbeard. All this information makes us wonder, is this the same person who made 3 admirals retreat with just his hockey, 2 in the One Piece movie, Red, and 1 in Wano? This is absurdly contradictory, isn't it? Even more so if we think that, like the King of the Seas, Blackbeard shouldn't be a risk for Shanks, especially at a time when Teach didn't have all the power he currently has. These factors corroborate my thesis that I said in a past video that Shanks is in fact the person who, although he wants to change the world as we know it, even more so, betting on Luffy in the new generation, he also doesn't want to do things using your strength. It seems that Shanks definitely prefers dialogue, and this becomes clear when he appears in Marineford to end the war, in the same way that he was the one who stopped Aramaki's attack on Wano without even needing to harm his enemy. And another moment that corroborates this thought of mine is the fact that Shanks prevented Kaido from going to Marineford to participate in that whole conflict. In other words, my dear pirate, Shanks prevented the last great enemy we saw in One Piece from appearing in the field of battle and wreak even more havoc on Marineford. So, again we ask ourselves, how did the man who prevented Kaido from going to Marineford get hurt by Blackbeard, who wasn't even as powerful as he is now? The answer may be, just as in the case of the arm, Shanks allowed it. Perhaps he had hoped that Teach would change. After all, they both had a connection because of Roger and Edward Newgate and their crews. But after seeing that Blackbeard had consumed the Yami Yami no Mi, perhaps Shanks, knowing that the fruit he stole from the world government was more special than a simple rubber fruit, currently being revealed to be the Hito Hito no Mi, Shanks then decided to pass the legacy on to Luffy, even if in an unintentional way. This theory makes sense due to the fact that the two fruits are very similar. Both the Yami Yami no Mi and the Hito Hito no Mi have the same coloring and their appearances are almost identical, and the idea that Luffy, who possesses the Liberator fruit, will be the person who changes the world and will defeat the person who has the fruit that imprisons people in darkness, makes us think that yes, Shanks could even beat Blackbeard, but he preferred to let fate play its role, in the same way he said previously that Shanks pretty much avoids direct combat whenever he can. So the mark that Shanks carries on his face may have a much greater meaning than just having been injured by someone relatively weaker than him, but rather that Shanks preferred to let things happen that way so that in the end the world could change. Soon, the loss of his arm that started and pushed Luffy to be who he is today, his scar would be another mark that would reveal the will to guide the person who would bring change to the world, and how all of this was introduced, making it seem like he will have a big effect on the future. That's one of the possible truths behind Shanks' scar. I want to know your opinion about everything we commented here today. But of course, if you made it this far, it's because you like the content, so it doesn't hurt to subscribe to our channel and become one more member of our fleet, my dear pirate. And of course, do not forget to press the like button, that helps a lot in spreading the video and the channel, so help us to become the largest fleet of pirates here on YouTube, okay? A big hug for everyone. And until the next video.